4 teams vie for the final 2 spots tonight. The final 4 will be locked. Inside Studio B on the campus of Ball State University, welcome to the 9th episode of Tourney Watch. With Darren Matheny, I'm Rachel Berry. Yesterday, 2 really good games and half the final 4 was set.
You said it right there, Rachel. 2 really good games yesterday, 4 quality teams in competition with one another. We start with the Portland Regional finale, Oregon and Mississippi State. First quarter, Tierra McCowan, the big block. And why not? Stare down the cameraman afterwards. Third quarter, Oregon up by 1. Ionescu the give, Sabali the go for 2 more. Oregon fans love that. To the fourth quarter, it was the Sabrina Ionescu show all day long. She lays this one in as the shot clock expires. Oregon is where they are because of Sabrina. 80 seconds to go. Ionescu, step back, nails it. Final 40 seconds, we'll see Cazorla hit the dagger, and Oregon heads to their first ever Final Four.
Second left, again out of timeouts. Inbound Ionescu. The Ducks have done it on the cusp of the last couple years, and finally over the top and into the Final Four.
UConn and Louisville in Albany. Megan Walker from dead on for 3. Later in the first half, Katie Lou Samuelson. Corner pocket tray goes. Huskies up by 7. Louisville did not go down easy, though. Sam Furing puts home the 15-foot jumper to cut it to 4. To the fourth quarter we go. Asia Durr inside. Floats it home to bring Louisville within 3. Later in the fourth quarter, Kristen Williams down the right lane line. Through traffic plus the foul. Samuelson loves it, and Williams fired up after the play. Final 30 seconds, Arike Carter cuts it to 2 for Louisville, but UConn at the end of the day was too much for the Cardinals. Samuelson fouled. She converts the pair, and UConn once again celebrates their victory as they head to their 12th consecutive Final Four. Durr and Ariema embrace.
After the game, Louisville and UConn reflected on the Elite 8.
You don't get to this point if you're not pretty good. But unfortunately, we just couldn't get some shots that normally go down in the first half. But, you know, we kept our head up and we continued to fight. But, you know, sucks. I feel for these 3 young women here that have just given everything that they have to our program, to our city, to the university, and they've been nothing but outstanding role models.
That's what makes us us. We don't stop fighting. It doesn't really matter how much we're down by, so I'm just super proud of my teammates, man. We just kept fighting. That's all that you could ask for.
There was a little bit of unfinished business from the last game. There was a little bit of extra motivation, and we wanted to give ourselves a chance to get to the Final Four, and so with that and that much focus and that many things all coming at you, it's easy to just play. Just go out there and play as hard as you can, play with everything you have in you.
And like I said, somebody was going to be big tonight. You know, we knew what Asia was going to do. That's a given. We just needed somebody to match, you know, everything she did. You know, we got the lead, and we never lost the lead the entire game.
UConn and Oregon celebrating in style as they are headed to Tampa. Half of our Final Four is complete. We'll see today who comes from the Greensboro region and the Chicago region. Baylor and Iowa and Greensboro, Notre Dame and Stanford and Chicago. But UConn and Oregon, 2 seeds headed to Tampa Bay. ESPN's Holly Rowe now joins us from Albany. Holly, thanks for coming on this show. We'll start with this tournament overall so far, though. What's been your highlight?
Well, I think the best part has been how competitive the games have been. I think in the first round and the second round, we had the most competitive games that we've had in 5 years. And I thought that the Notre Dame Texas A&M game, where Kennedy Carter had 35, Enrique Ogunbowale had 34 points, and Notre Dame got the win, that was about the best back and forth I've seen at all. It was fantastic.
Notre Dame and Stanford taking on each other today, but how have the Irish gotten back to the Elite Eight?
Well, I think the biggest key is they've got all 5 starters back, and they've got Brianna Turner back, who is giving them key rebounds and a great defensive presence inside. She had block shots. She is a big, tall player that has been just great for them. So I think there's some confidence, too, that comes with Notre Dame. You know, they've been there, they've done it. They were down to just 6 players last year, and they were able to win a national championship. Now they've got a little bit more depth, and they've really bonded and gelled in this really beautiful way.
We've seen a lot of spectacular players over the course of this year's tournament so far, but who is your tournament MVP?
Oh, my gosh, tournament MVP. I think that it's got to be Napisa Collier. I mean, Napisa Collier of UConn in her last 7 games averaged 27 points, 14 rebounds per game. You know, UConn is not maybe the UConn of the past, but she is an exceptional player that is really standing out to me. And of course, I would think Sabrina Ionescu is also right up there. She's a triple-double machine. She's got her Oregon team playing at a very high level as well.
You've been such an advocate for women's basketball over the past 10 years, but how have you seen this tournament improve?
I think the level of play is higher. Kids keep getting better and better. These women are exceptional athletes. I think their skill sets have improved. But the other thing that I would tell you is better is the attendance. These buildings are packed. Many of the buildings are absolutely packed. I don't know if you saw the Gonzaga Oregon State game, but there's, you know, I don't know how many, maybe 16,000 people at that building. And I think when you have big crowds, it lends to bigger excitement. And so I think the level of play and the fans are the greatest improvements.
ESPN's Holly Rowe. Thanks for joining us, Holly.
Sorry about the loud music.
Looking forward to tonight, the remaining Elite Eight teams are ready to punch their tickets to Tampa.
I think they're a great program. They have a great coaching staff, and they really are pretty good at scouting. And like you said, we've played each other a lot, so they really know our plays, and they know what we like to do, and vice versa. So it's definitely going to be a game of discipline and runs. You know, we're both good teams, so who can execute the game plan better.
Yeah, I mean, when we got when the bracket came out, we were kind of mostly first focused on Mercer and just taking it one game at a time. I don't even know how much we even noticed that we were in Baylor's bracket, but we're really excited about it. I think we match up well against them. We know that they're obviously the overall #1 seed, but I'm really happy that we're in their bracket, and it's going to be a challenge, but I think we're all ready for it.
Like Elena said, we are a very different team this year, and they are a different team as well. Different strengths, different weaknesses, but that's one thing that has remained the same, is that grit and that fight within us. Just being here at Stanford, it's something that I think is a part of our culture, and so I think they're going to go on their runs, we're going to go on our runs, but a matter of just sticking with it.
I think we're excited. We're ready to get there, so the quicker we get there, the better. I'm trying to get the game started, get the win, and get to Tampa.
Today's slate is a good one. Iowa versus Baylor in Greensboro. The Bears putting up nearly 100 points per game, but we'll see how the defenses hold up. Iowa only allowing 58 points per game. Baylor 56.3. It'll be Megan Gustafson versus Kalani Brown. And this one in Chicago, Notre Dame against Stanford. The Irish putting up 90 points per game, while the Cardinal are at 68. The big question before the Texas A&M game was whether or not the Aggies could keep up with the Notre Dame offense. That question holds true for today's game between Notre Dame and Stanford.
ESPN's Christy Thomas-Scuddy now joins us. Christy, really appreciate the time. Let's start with the tournament overall. What's been your favorite moment so far?
I'm going to go all the way back to yesterday's Iowa game. To see the team step up and support Megan Gustafson the way she did. And Hannah Stewart's a remarkable story, a senior who barely got off the bench her freshman and sophomore years, came off the pine in a reserve role as a junior to start and then lead her team in such performance yesterday. That's definitely one of my favorite moments so far.
Baylor and Iowa play in Greensboro. Baylor seems to be clicking on all cylinders right now. Why can Iowa be that team and advance to the Final Four after beating Baylor?
I'm not sure if they're going to be that team because Baylor's playing at such a high level, But I think in order to upset Baylor, they've got to do what they did yesterday, and that's make outside shots. Everyone knows how good Megan Gustafson is, and the only way to prevent her from scoring is not to let her get touches. And so teams have been playing off of other players, daring them to beat you, and that's exactly what Iowa did yesterday. So I think for Iowa to win, they're going to have well-rounded scoring from the team again.
The top 8 overall seeds advanced to the Elite Eight. How surprised were you to see it all chalk in the Elite Eight?
I really wasn't because of the way the matchups lined up. South Carolina is obviously a tremendous team, but they don't have truly that 4 spot to match up with a team like Baylor. Same thing. Like the one game that I did think could be the upset was that UCLA-UConn game because I thought that matchup really boded well for UCLA. But the rest of the matchups throughout the country, was not surprised at all that the top 8 seeds advanced.
Watching everything unfold as a former coach, how have you seen the coaching grow from your perspective?
Well, I think you've got former players coaching the game now, and that helps. But overall, I think it's just the level of detail now that every coach has at their disposal as well as within their staff. You've got companies like Synergy that break everything down from a film perspective. You've got her hoop stats that from an analytics perspective is going to give you anything you want and more in terms of the detail. I think one of the greatest challenges for head coaches now is how they're delivering this detail and how do they keep it simple for their student athletes.
What coach have you been most impressed by so far?
Oh, there's so many. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, if I just go to the tournament, I'm going to go with Gonzaga and their staff to lose 2 starters coming into it and to win the way they did in their first round game and then take Oregon State all the way down to the wire. So impressed with Lisa and her staff. But I'm going to go back to Iowa again. Having done one of their games this year, the level of detail that coaching staff puts into individual breakdown as much as they do into a scout is why you're seeing this Iowa team perform at such a high level right now going into their Elite Eight game tomorrow, hopefully, in trying to advance to the Final Four.
ESPN's Christy Thomas-Scuddy. Christy, really appreciate the time.
Thank you for having me.
Our 4 players to watch today. These players have been outstanding all tournament long, starting with Megan Gustafson, the ESPNW Player of the Year, and she's proving why in this tournament, averaging a double-double. Kalani Brown has led the Bears all season long and continues to do so in this tournament. Arike Agumbawale for Notre Dame, 2 heroic shots in last year's Final Four. She's putting up nearly 27 points per game this tournament. And finally, Alana Smith for Stanford, 56.8% from the field, and she's the driving force behind this Stanford offense. And Rachel, if these 4 players show up today, we're going to have 2 really good games again.
And I know we are definitely looking forward to the games tonight. And that's a wrap for Tourney Watch today. From all of us at the NCAA, as well as our Ball State Sports Link production crew, thanks for watching. And remember to follow the entire tournament using #NCAAW. Enjoy tonight's games.